Hi, I'm Emily Williams, the founder of the top success and personal development company for driven women called I Heart My Life. I grew my company from $442 to seven figures in my first 18 months. And since then, it's become a movement for women who know they're meant for something big and refuse to settle. At I Heart My Life, we operate with the belief that anything is possible and no dream is too big. We're all about combining business strategy, deep mindset work, high performance practices, money tips, and a whole lot of lifestyle to help you get the results you deserve in all areas of life. Because after all, we only get this one shot. This is your one-stop shop for all things inspiration. So grab your favorite drink and a pen and a notebook and get ready to be inspired. Oh, and if you're not a member of our community, go to iheartmylife.com/join and receive all of our emails and announcements. And while you're at it, copy and paste this episode link and share it with 3 friends. Now, on to the episode. Hey, it's Emily Williams, the founder of I Heart My Life and your host of the I Heart My Life show. This is episode 216, The Importance of the Impression of Increase. So today I want to chat a little bit about this concept called the impression of increase, which is from The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles. And we're going to talk about the details of what that actually means and why it's important as you grow your business. It's also really important if you are out there looking to create an impact, whether you are a speaker or an author or you have a personal brand. If you're looking to create some sort of change, then this is a really important concept for you to understand. Now, I'm not going to get into it right here in this introduction. I want to save it for the episode. So let's go ahead and dive in because this is something everyone needs to know about and it's going to make a world of difference in your life. This episode was sponsored by the I Heart My Life Mastermind. The I Heart My Life Mastermind is perfect for you if you already have a business and you're looking to scale. We cover tons of different topics. We cover marketing strategy, revenue planning, team, processes, everything you need in terms of mindset, high performance, really taking care of yourself as well as your business, events, publicity. We literally have 7 coaches under one umbrella to support you and give you the answers to all of your burning questions. We host regular weekly workshops where you get your personal questions answered. We have retreats. You have a private Slack channel where you get to ask questions 24/7. You have an extensive resource bank that helps you put in place our cash method in your own business, and much, much more. This is one of the most inventive programs around. I don't know anyone else offering the service that we provide. So if you are interested in growing your business and transforming your life, definitely book a call with us to learn more. Go to iheartmylifebooking.com and learn more about the I Heart My Life Mastermind. So this episode was inspired by a series of clients in our programs over the years who have asked me why things aren't working for them. Now, there is obviously so much that you can do in terms of strategy to get results, but there's so much beneath the surface that really impacts the success that you create in your life and your business. There's so much that's unseen, and there's so many energetics that are at play when it comes to getting results. So this is what this episode is all about. So let's start off by talking about the impression of increase. So in chapter 14 of The Science of Getting Rich, Wallace D. Wattles defines what this is. So I'm going to read from this chapter to support you in understanding the importance of this as well as how to apply it to your life. He says, increase is what all men and all women are seeking. It is the urge of the formless intelligence within them seeking fuller expression. The desire for increase is inherent in all nature. It is the fundamental impulse of the universe. All human activities are based on the desire for increase. People are seeking more food, more clothes, better shelter, more luxury, more beauty, more knowledge, more pleasure, increase in something, more life. Every living thing is under this necessity for continuous advancement. Where increase of life ceases, dissolution and death set in at once. Man instinctually knows this, and hence he is forever seeking more. This law of perpetual increase is set forth by Jesus in the parable of the talents. Only those who gain more retain any. From him who hath not shall be taken away, even that which he hath. The normal desire for increased wealth is not evil or a reprehensible thing. It is simply the desire for a more abundant life. It is aspiration. And because it is the deepest instinct of all their natures, all men and all women are attracted to him who can give them more of the means of life. So we'll keep going with this in a second, but I want to make sure that you understand what is being said here. So nature is simply all about more life. It's about increase. And so those of us who are aware that this is also our truest desire, we are all about increase ourselves. So maybe that means increasing your revenue, getting a bigger house, having better food, being in a even healthier relationship. All of that, we want more, more, more. And yet, so often growing up, we are told not to want more. We are told just to be grateful for what we have. There are so many people out there who are settling. They're not lit up by their life, and they're not looking to go to the next level because they feel guilty or bad. I know for me, growing up, I always wanted more. I always believed I could achieve more, that I could have more, that I could make more money. All of those pieces were really true for me. There was a point of time, though, where it was right after I graduated from college, I started to see some of my friends settle into their adult life. So I had a few friends who were teachers who ended up getting jobs right after college. They moved into different neighborhoods. Some of them actually bought condos. They were driving their Volkswagen Jettas. They had their life kind of mapped out for them. And I remember feeling so unsatisfied by the thought of that. And there's nothing wrong with those careers. There's nothing wrong with wanting those things. But for me, I knew that I wanted so much more. And yet on the flip side, I kept thinking to myself, wouldn't it be so much easier if I was satisfied with less? If I didn't love the 5-star lifestyle, if I didn't want to do something big with my life, if I didn't want to start a business, if I didn't want to find an incredible relationship, wouldn't it be easier if I was just happy with where I'm at? Now, I bring that up because I want to differentiate two different things. This wanting more does not mean that you are unhappy where you're at. Quite the opposite. I had to learn to be grateful for what I currently had in order to go to the next level. Because if right now you're not experiencing satisfaction or gratitude for the current present moment, then why would the universe ever give you more? Right? It's like you already have all these gifts, but you're saying that's not good enough. I don't want them. And you're pushing them away. And that energy is repellent. Okay. So that's not what we're talking about here. But I truly believe that you can be grateful and desire more at the same time. They are not mutually exclusive. So when I learned that, and I learned that there was a balance there, it was super helpful. And I started to attract more things. And when I started to get into acceptance around the fact that I love beautiful things, I always want more. I'm always striving for the next level. And I really owned that about myself. It made things a million times easier. So if for whatever reason you're making yourself wrong for the things that you desire, please release that. I believe that our desires are dropped in. They are meant for us. And desire is literally just the urge for more life. Just as we've heard in this chapter so far, that is a very natural thing. Nature is all about more life. Okay? There's nothing wrong with that. So I want you to be in full acceptance of that first and foremost. The second piece of this that's really important is for those of you who have a personal brand or you're putting yourself out there as a teacher or a speaker or author or coach or whatever it may be, or if you're just looking to have some sort of influence or impact in the world, then you're going to want to make sure that you are living in a way that displays the impression of increase. Now, one of the things that I don't like about that phrase is the word impression, because in my mind, impression can sometimes mean that you're giving off a certain feeling or a certain vibe, but it's not actually true. It's not actually genuine. And that's not what we're talking about here. We are talking about you being somebody who gives off the impression of increase and lives the impression of increase. It's not fake it till you make it. It's literally who you are. And that's why this acceptance piece is so important, because if you're in denial about who you really are and you're not your full self, people are going to feel that. There's an energetic misalignment. So when I'm saying give off the impression of increase, this doesn't mean that you're posting pictures of yourself in front of a private jet that you're not actually getting on. That doesn't mean that we're lying to people or that we're duping people. In fact, the complete opposite, because that's not going to get you the true results that you want. It's not going to get you the long-term results that you want. This is about you showing up and being a person who is living in a way that truly is all about increase. You really are living in that way, and it's energetically aligned. It's who you are. It's not even a question anymore. It's like, okay, great. This is my desire. Awesome. Let's move in that direction. I'm not even going to question it. Okay, great. My desire is for more life. Let's do it. It's not even a question. And you are fully in alignment with who you are. Now, let me give you an example here. I love luxury. I love 5-star. I love to travel. I love to stay in beautiful places. I love beautiful clothes. I realized a few years ago that it is imperative that I surround myself with beauty and high level things. Otherwise, my energy is completely different. I'm not as creative. I'm not in my full self. I'm not my happiest. And again, there were times where I made this wrong. And that's not to say that I can't be happy in other environments, right? Of course, we are able to generate happiness when we set the intention to do so. But I'm in my I'm my best self, in my fullest, truest self, when I'm surrounded by beautiful things in high vibe locations. All right. And so because I have a personal brand, because I have a company, I've designed a company around that stuff. That's part of like the ethos of what we do. And so it's really imperative for me to be displaying this impression of increase in all that I do. And again, it's not ingenuine. It is true because it is who I am, right? But I am displaying that, and it's really important to the brand that I continue to do so. I remember I had a coach. She instructed me to actually stay in a particular hotel because it was in alignment with the brand. You know, there's a reason why we don't have our VIP days at the Holiday Inn. It's not in alignment with the brand, and it's not in alignment with the impression of increase. And this is so important for those of you who are working with clients and you want to support them in up-leveling. Even just the simple concept of where you host your events, what venue you choose, that will create an automatic up level for them. Okay, so when they walk in the door, there will be that impression of increase. Now, this episode, like I said, came to be because I've had people say to me many times over and over, I don't know why things aren't working. And then we look at the behind the scenes, we look at their strategy, they're doing everything right. We look at their marketing, and from a black and white perspective, they're putting some of the key steps in place. But the thing that is missing is the impression of increase. If you are somebody who has a personal brand and you're looking to be inspiring, well, you better live an inspiring life. If you are somebody who promotes making more money, creating a life better than your dreams, then your life better display that. I shouldn't get on your Instagram account or read your emails and see that you're just at home day after day, that you're not actually happy. I shouldn't see pictures of you where it looks like you're haggard, right? And you're tired. That's not the impression of increase. And again, I'm not saying that we create this disingenuine experience. I want this to be fully genuine. But I want you to understand that this starts with you. So you have to ask yourself, where in your life have you stalled? Where in your life have you settled? Where in your life are you not actually living fully in alignment with what you want? And I understand, especially the past year or so, it's been challenging to live fully. But there are people who have done it. There are people who have transformed their home space because they know that they want it to be high vibe. And it has that impression of increase. There are people who have created amazing Zoom backgrounds because they want to have the impression of increase. There are people who have taught their spouses how to take pictures of them so that they can show up fully on Instagram, right? Even from home, even in your neighborhood. So there are ways to do this when we get creative. So the issue is you have to figure out, are you a mismatch for your audience? Is what it is that you're promoting. Again, I'll just use my tagline as an example. If your tagline is create a life better than your dreams and you're sitting at home behind the computer, people aren't actually seeing a life better than your dreams. They aren't experiencing a high level of luxury. They aren't experiencing making more money. They aren't experiencing me being happy. Let's just even focus on that point. Then there's an energetic mismatch and they are not experiencing the impression of increase. So really ask yourself, are you showing up as the best version of you? So let's take a look at some of the teachings in this chapter. It says, and because it is the deepest instinct of their natures, all men and women are attracted to him who can give them more of the means of life. You are a creative center from which increase is given off to all. Be sure of this and convey assurance of the fact to every man, woman, and child with whom you come in contact. No matter how small the transaction, even if it be only selling a stick of candy to a little child, put into it the thought of increase and make sure that the customer is impressed with the thought. Convey the impression of advancement with everything you do so that all people shall receive the impression that you are an advancing man and that you advance all who deal with you, even to the people whom you meet in a social way, without any thought of business, to whom you do not try to sell anything. Give the thought of increase. You can convey this impression by holding the unshakable faith that you yourself are in the way of increase, and by letting this faith inspire, fill, and permeate every action. Okay, I'm going to pause here for a second. So he's saying here, even if you're not selling anything, you give off the impression of increase. Now, some of you might be asking, how do I actually do that? Is it about spending a lot of money and dressing myself in Chanel? Is it about only staying in 5-star hotels? And no, absolutely not. This is about a way of being. And so we're talking about energetics here. And it starts with your thoughts. Okay, so are you right now down in the dumps about your life? Are you questioning whether the thing that you want is ever going to happen for you? Are you not feeling happy? Are you not feeling excited? Are you not actually feeling increase in your life? If that's the case, it starts with you. So ask yourself, what is it going to take for me to feel like I'm headed in the direction of my dreams? I'm headed in the direction of my desires. I'm creating more increase. I'm on the way up. And for those of you who have never done mindset work before, it's going to take some repetition. It's going to take some reprogramming of your mind if you are someone who is naturally down in the dumps, or you are someone who is always in lack, right? So that's going to have to shift. And then once you do this work, and I'm talking potentially months, if not years of work, okay, sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but it takes time because you've been thinking in a certain way for decades, and there's been a lot of generational programming there as well through friends or family. Then it's going to take some time, but you will get there. And energetically, you will become the person who gives off the impression of increase. So let me give you an example. Recently, I hosted a few events for some of my friends. So there was a baby shower that I co-led, as well as a birthday party that I hosted. So whenever I do anything like that, even socially, there's an impression of increase. It's an incredible experience for people. I curate things like the flowers and the setting and make sure that they're stepping into a high level, high vibe environment, because that's the person I am. Okay, so ask yourself, how are you doing this in everything that you do? There's other things that I do in my personal life that give off the impression of increase. So I will not stay in a crappy Airbnb. I also will not stay in terms of a long-term trip in a single hotel room. That's just not the way that I roll. That's not what I want to do. I need more space than that. So I spend a lot of time figuring out where I want to stay. Where is the environment that's going to support me, as well as my husband, as well as the company when we're in this space. At the time that I'm recording this, I'm in London. We are here for 2.5 weeks. When we first got here, we decided to quarantine for 5 days in an Airbnb that had a beautiful backyard and tons of space, because we knew that we wanted to feel spacious. We wanted to feel taken care of. We didn't want to be cramped. That would not be fun. We wanted to have outdoor space where we could stretch our legs. We could, actually feel the ground beneath our feet. Okay, if we weren't going to be able to go out. Then when we decided to travel to this beautiful hotel in Hampshire. It's one of our favorites. It's gorgeous. The only reason I even know about it is because Prince Harry and Meghan Markle stayed there on their baby moon, and I saw it in People magazine. And it's a gorgeous five-star property. And so we decided to spend 3 days there because we absolutely love it. And you better believe that I was Instagramming the heck out of that video, out of that experience, because I love sharing the things that I do, the things that light me up. And that's the impression of increase. Again, I'm going to come back to this though. It's genuine. I was actually there. I actually love it. And so if you don't love luxurious hotels, you don't need to do that. But find your thing so that you can show people what it is that you're doing. And again, this is not about showing off, but it is about being a reminder of what's possible, especially if you are creating a personal brand or you're in the business of inspiration. That is really, really important. And then same thing. This whole hotel experience was also in part for James's mom, who was turning 70. So we brought her there. We paid for her to stay there. She got this incredible experience. People get the impression of increase just by being around us, just by experiencing the way in which we do life. Okay. Then we go into the third part of our trip, which is staying in this gorgeous £6 million Airbnb. Again, it's right by Harrods. Like we're in it, right by Hyde Park. My favorite part, which is Sloane Square. We're right there. We can walk everywhere. It's gorgeous. It's stunning. It's an muse. I love what this area looks like. I love a good muse. It's so beautiful here. So again, are you living life in a way that's giving off the impression of increase? And it's genuine. It really is genuine. Okay, then we're going to be hosting some VIP days. We're not doing that at a simple hotel. We're doing that at the Ritz because that's the impression of increase. It will automatically up-level our clients when they walk in the room. So really think about this from a personal perspective as well as a professional perspective. And I did not always have the money to be able to do this, but I still lived in a certain way. And that's the importance here. When I realized the power of money mindset and really focusing on abundance, I got myself out of lack and I started to do certain things. So for example, maybe when I realized that I was in lack, I started to tip more. So when I went to Starbucks, even though it wasn't expected, especially in Europe, to tip, this is while I was living in London, I would give them money. I would give the baristas money. Okay, so I started to do things that would support this impression of increase. In the book, he says, convey the impression of advancement with everything you do so that all people shall receive the impression that you are an advancing man and that you advance all who deal with you, even to the people whom you meet in the social way without the thought of business, to whom you do not try and sell anything. Give the thought of increase. And this could even be as you're giving somebody a present, right? One of your family members, give them the impression of increase. Send that to them energetically. Maybe when you meet somebody in an elevator, think to yourself, I send them increase in all of their endeavors. Literally have that thought process. Transfer your abundant energy into them. And for those of you who don't know about energetics, you might not know about mindset work, you might not know that your thoughts and words create your reality. That might seem really weird, but I want you to really understand, just like everything we've talked about in terms of nature so far, there have been tons of studies that have been done on our effect on nature in terms of the words that we use. So even, the simplest study, which is absolutely incredible, where there was a researcher who spoke negative words to water molecules, right? And then he spoke positive words to another set of water molecules. The ones with the positive words became beautiful. They were in gorgeous shapes. These are snowflakes, by the way. The other grouping where they heard the negative words were misshapen. They were deformed. So this is just one example. I'm not going to go into that whole study, but I want you to understand the power of your words. So maybe you just speak or even think about people around you experiencing increase. If you work with clients, what if for 5 minutes every day, you visualized your clients making more money? You visualized your clients getting more opportunities. You visualized your clients landing speaking gigs. He says here, you can convey this impression by holding the unshakable faith that you yourself are in the way of increase, and by letting this faith inspire, fill, and permeate every action. Okay, so right now, even if you feel like it's not happening, holding the faith that you are actually in increase. Everything is happening right now. More life, more please. I have a friend who always says, yes, more please. Yes, more please. Yes, more please. Yes, more please. And people might think, oh, well, that's really greedy. No, it's not. It's actually the way that life is meant to be. We have the ability to increase our means. He says, do everything that you do in firm conviction that you are an advancing personality, that you are giving advancement to everybody. Feel that you are getting rich, and that in doing so, you are making others rich and conferring benefits on all. Do not boast or brag of your success or talk about it unnecessarily. True faith is never boastful. So now here, I want you to understand, I share a lot about money. I share a lot about my life. And I'm not doing that from an ego place. I'm doing it from an inspiration place. So those of you who have a personal brand or a company, you know whether this is part of the message that you are conveying to your audience or not, right? So you decide whether it's an alignment for you. The most important thing here is that you are energetically in the space of increase, okay? Because people will feel that. If you are actually in lack, right? If you are in lack, they're going to feel that as well. So people might not know why they're not attracted to you. But when we look at the energetics behind the scenes, it's out of alignment. You're not displaying the impression of increase. It says here, words will not be necessary to communicate this feeling to others. They will feel the sense of increase when in your presence and will be attracted to you again. You must so impress others that they will feel that in associating with you, they will get an increase for themselves. See that you give them a use value greater than the cash value you are taking from them. So that's a really great reminder as well. So for those of you who are you sell something, you maybe have a company or a brand, think about, are your clients getting more of an ROI in terms of value than what they paid you for, or than what they paid to you? Right? So there's that impression of increase in that way. So I hope this is some incredible food for thought. And I hope this is inspiring to those of you, especially who aren't living in this way, who have the desire to live in this way. You have the desire to live fully, and yet you're holding yourself back. And for those of you who are already living in a way that is giving off the impression of increase, how can you take it up a notch? Is that thinking in a way that supports other people in increasing and not just thinking about yourself? Is it sharing what you're doing online and being more visible with the way in which you're living your life? So you get to decide how you do this, but keep this in mind. It's super, super important. And if you want to go deeper with it, of course, check out The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles. All of this is in chapter 14. I'll talk to you soon. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the I Heart My Life show. Now do us a favor and tell people about this episode. It's truly our duty to make sure that the I Heart My Life movement is spread far and wide. The truth is, life can be challenging, but it is possible for all women to love themselves and their lives. And while you're at it, send a link to this episode to 3 of your friends today, or maybe even post it on social media. Use the hashtag #IHeartMyLifeShow. That's hashtag #IHeartMyLifeShow. And if you'd like to help me personally, then please rate and review this podcast on Apple Podcasts. Give us some stars, cheer us on, and leave a review, because believe it or not, that stuff actually really does help. And I read all of them. Please remember, everything you desire is meant for you and possible. Keep showing up, taking action, and believing in your dreams.